All right. Hi, everybody. So we'll get started with a prayer. Oh, oh, oh. Swami, walk through me, talk to me, listen through me for this beautiful session. Sairam. All right. Sairam, everyone. Uh, so this is Kiran here. So last session we had an amazing session about sacrifice, which is yajna. So I'm going to quickly recap what happened last session. So it was about yajna or sacrifice, which says work must be done as yajna to God. Otherwise, work would cause bondage in this material world. Yajna or sacrifice is not just limited to whatever we are seeing in this image. It is more about not limited to ritualistic burning of offerings, but burning of our like basically sacrificing of our selfishness, lust, anger, and like greed, and all of the negatives in this yajna, which is like we're sacrificing towards a greater good. Um, so can we switch to the next slide, please? Yeah. So this is the main theme of the previous session's topic. It was about sacrifice and surrender, which is S and S double treatment. So we had an amazing breakout session and an amazing turnout last time, and the participation were so good and very energetic. So we had some questions in the breakout sessions, we had some questions what was their higher goal and what did they offer to the Agni as a sacrifice? What would they do if the desired result uh, is not happening, right? Like, so what would they do? So we had like interesting and very amazing answers, and then like we learned a lot from previous sessions. So right now, we have Anusha and Shivani who's going to present something. But going before that, I'll just give you a background. So it's going to be a mind-bending conversation. I'm just kidding. No, it's not going to be mind-bending, but it's a very simple conversation. So this is about a Sai Sweetathon, right? So we have Anusha and Shivani who's gonna talk to each other and take us through this amazing presentation. Sai.
Hey Shivani, how are you?
Hey Nusha, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are things at home?
Yeah, all well.
All good. Swami's keeping you
Yeah,
busy?
yeah, very busy.
Okay, quick question. You know Sweetathon is coming up this weekend,
Oh,
right?
yeah, I know.
We are making sweet treats and we are going to drop it off at the shelter. This is specifically for the shelter that houses women and children who are coming out of like abusive relations. They're trying to get back on their feet. So we are thinking of getting together, our group, kids and adults, and I'm really, really looking to see if you can host it. We need some space
Me?
to host probably in your home if possible.
Oh, no, 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 no. I cannot host it, Anusha.
Are you sure? I was hoping if you are able to.
No,
It's
no, no,
just
no.
a
I'm
couple of
sure. I'm
hours.
absolutely sure. My son has geography P competition that day, and I don't want to disturb my son.
I understand. Okay.
Hmm.
If something changes, let me know, but at least if you're able to come
No,
for a
no,
little
nothing will
bit.
change, Anusha. I'm sorry. Maybe
Okay.
next time.
No worries, no worries. Next time. Okay. See
Hmm.
you then. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Sairam, everyone. So it did seem like Shivani has her hands full and she was not in a position to help Anusha. So we'll get back to her in a while, but let's read Bhagavad Gita chapter 3, verse 14. And this verse says that all living beings subsist on food, and food is produced by rains. Rains come from performance of sacrifice, and sacrifice is produced by the performance of prescribed duties. So just to understand that, let's quickly watch a video.
I bet you didn't know that a single blade of grass can support an entire ecosystem. Picture this, a blade of grass soaking up sunshine. It's not just any grass, it's a hero in a food chain. Next up, a grasshopper munches away. Then, a hungry frog hops along and gulps down the grasshopper. But wait, a sly snake slithers in and makes a meal of the frog. And finally, an eagle swoops down, turning the snake into lunch. Each link in the chain relies on the one before it. It's like nature's ultimate teamwork. Without grass, no grasshopper. No grasshopper, no frog. You get the idea. So next time you see a tiny insect, remember it's part of a bigger picture. The food chain keeps our world in balance.
All right, so I'd like to put a question to the audience. Would anyone be able to draw a parallel between the video we just watched and this Bhagavad Gita verse? And please feel free to unmute yourselves or type your answers in the chat box. Anyone? And there's no one right answer. We just like, did you see any similarity between the two, between the video that we just watched and this shloka? So I think we have some answers. No? Anyone?
I'm just kind of fascinated by, everything is being eaten up with something bigger. Who's going to eat me up? This human being. If we are also in this chain of, being fed, whose food am I?
Yeah. But before I go, anyone else?
There is something
Yeah.
in the chat. Sister Aarti says we're all interconnected.
Yes, it's very true.
I would say like a small sacrifice that one does will benefit many in ways that we cannot even imagine.
Yes, definitely. I think, it's like saying that I do not exist alone, like as Sister Aarti said, that we are connected. We are dependent on so many things. We just don't realize it. Like my existence depends upon my family members, community, my neighbors, the environment, the microorganisms, other creatures, right? We don't take time to think about that, but yes. And as a small example, I just say that when we were going for our holidays, we had a 10-day long trip. And when we came back, my neighbor, she stopped me and said, do you realize that when you left, you forgot to close your garage door? And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that. And, I haven't given her my phone number yet. But then what she did was she came inside the house and just checked if and when she found that nobody was there, then she pushed the garage door and quickly sprinted out. So consciously or unconsciously, we are dependent on so many things for our existence, and I think it just makes sense to give back to people, to community in some shape or form. And I think this is what the sacrifice that the shloka is talking about. And I think if we, as being that part of the bigger community, it just makes sense to give back and to follow the unsaid norm. So Chitra, if you are ready, we can do a quick visualization to soak this truth in. We can't hear you, Chitra.
How about now?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sai Ram and Chitra. And I'd like to invite you now
Can you increase your volume?
or let me try a different device.
No, this is fine. Maybe just come a tad bit closer. I think it should be good.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
How about now? Can you hear me better now?
Yes,
much
yes.
better. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So please settle into a comfortable position and let your breath soften. Imagine yourself surrounded by a sphere of warm, radiant light, a soft, shimmering cocoon that holds you with complete safety and ease. Feel its glow around your body, its warmth on your skin, its quiet hum of peace. With each inhale, the light brightens. With each exhale, it expands gently outward. Now, in this glow, invite the people who touched your life today. Anyone whose presence, words, or energy brushed against your day. It could be family, friends, colleagues, pet, even someone who passed you briefly. See them appear at the edge of your light, each one illuminated in their own gentle glow. One by one, invite them to step into the sphere with you. Feel the light expand to welcome them, making room for them effortlessly. Notice how that space becomes warmer, fuller, more vibrant with each arrival. Now, let the light guide you backward, like turning the pages of a book. Return to last year. Invite people, friends, situations, pets. Now, go even a few years before and consider moments when someone's kindness, guidance, or presence shaped you. Invite those people to appear. Teachers, mentors, friends, neighbors, even brief encounters that left a mark. Let each one step into the sphere of light. Feel the glow deepen as they join. Now travel further back to adolescence, childhood, early memories. See the faces and places that helped form who you are. People who encouraged you, protected you, challenged you, or simply walked beside you. Invite each of them into the light, letting the sphere expand again effortlessly, lovingly. Now you stand in a vast, radiant sphere filled with every presence that has touched your life today, yesterday, years ago, and long before that. Feel the warmth of their support, Feel the strength of your own journey. Feel how that light holds all of you, past and present, without strain, without judgment. Take a slow breath in, letting this circle of connection fill your heart. And exhale gently, letting gratitude ripple outward throughout the light. Let the sphere slowly soften and dissolve, leaving its warmth inside your chest, a quiet glow you carry with you. And when you're ready, return to your breath, your body, this moment. And then join us when you're ready by opening your eyes, bringing yourself back on camera.
Thank you, Chitra. That was
Thank
wonderful
you.
and also heartwarming to think of all the people who've touched our lives, not just today, but since the time we were born. And it was wonderful. At least, if nothing, we can express our gratitude to everyone and everything that has touched our lives. So, and I know in my circle and in many others, I think Brother Suresh would be very much present. So I would like to invite him. And brother, could you just add on to whatever we've been talking so far?
Yeah.
And thank you for all you do.
So, Sairam, by the infinite grace, love, and compassion of Bhagavan Baba, we are here for this satsang. Nice, Chitra did that session so nicely well. And this diagram is so extremely, when you focus on this itself, it'll sort of like absorbs you into the center. So that's very nice. So can you revert back to the previous verse? Because that's the, yeah. Yes, okay. So, dear brothers and sisters, this is a very powerful line because this is describing the cycle of life that keeps the whole earth moving. This is basically the DNA for every momentum of any individual. This is what that makes the world tick. The secret of life is in this verse chapter 3, verse 14. It is for this particular purpose that Satyasai Baba organized the organization and introduced centers so that devotees will get back into this cycle. You see, the whole idea is we came out of the cycle. The problem is there's a wheel going on. So imagine there's a wheel going on, and we stepped out of the wheel. And it is because of the stepping out of the wheel that we experience many, many turmoils because a lot of I and my starts to come out. When you step out of the wheel, this is called, in Sanskrit, it's called Pravarti Marga. Pravarti Marga means expansion of the ego, expansion of the I, and expansion of the my. When it expands and expands and expands, the world you see will be full of moha, will be delusion. So our entire idea is moha shaya, which is a short form. Another form is moksha. Moksha comes from the word moha shaya. Moha, delusion, shaya, destruction. So destruction of delusion helps us, the ego, to come down, 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 and we get back into this cycle. So the cycle, when you're in part of the cycle, then this cycle is the Nivrti Marga, not Pravarti, Nivrti Marga. So this, in essence, is what constitutes good health of an individual. Example, if you don't exercise, you don't eat properly, you don't sleep properly, health will be compromised. Here, the teacher is trying to tell us there is one fundamental thing that we must keep on doing, just as how the cycle of life is kept on doing. The DNA code is sacrifice and surrender. So he's trying to illustrate to us what happens to you if you don't sacrifice. So this is what it is. That I don't want to give. I'm not interested to give. Why should I give? What's the reason for giving? If you don't give and you don't have that quality, what will happen is it has an intrinsic nature in which it will influence the climate. In years to come, we will have 230 million climate refugees very soon. That's what the UN has predicted. 230 climate. The whole climate is now behaving oddly. USA itself experienced that storm that you just had. It's unusual. The weather here is unusually so hot you cannot even imagine. So I don't know why. So in Dubai, there's a snow that came in, cold water, cold rain. So why is the whole weather behaving differently? So when the climate behaves differently, it is symptomatic expressions. There's a symptom. So you need to know the causative reason why this is happening is because human beings have moved away from the inclusive cycle that we're supposed to be and started living selfishly and self-centeredly. Once we start living like that, we will find will be so much a problem, and you'll go against. You see what just now sister mentioned, she asked, insect, what will eat man? What will completely eat man? That's a very powerful question. And it really started making me think, what will eat man is very simple. We ourselves will eat ourselves, which is rust. When rust is forming, rust destroys the iron. Where is the rust coming from? From the iron itself. So it itself comes from itself and destroys ourselves. So finally, when we are selfish and self-centered, it will consume us and totally destroy us. So to save us from our own selves, the teacher is now prescribing this inclusive cycle in which we must now draw into. So the moment we draw into the cycle, we start. That's why the center, you don't do 4 hours of seva, go and do 4 hours. Why must you do seva? Why must you go to hospital? Is your patient, is your relative? No. Are you standing for elections? No. Then are you a social worker? Why? No, I just want to go there. Why? Love for the sake of love alone. When you start producing love without a reason, is seasonless love, costless love. No reason for love, no season for love. The teacher is singing this with formula. No reason for love, no season for love. That is the essence of yajna. But we will continue sing, no season for love, no season for love. Come on, sing, everybody, love. No season. We keep on repeating the mantra without understanding the mantra. This is the problem with us singers. We are singing it, shaking our head, drumming it away. But the formula to uncode and open the safe, we are not understanding. The simple problem is, if we start living our life like that, no reason, no season, what will happen is we live with a spirit of sacrifice. Once we live with a spirit of sacrifice and just give and give, it is called yajna. Once we are part of the yajna, we come back to the cycle. Once we come back to the cycle, we need to increase more and more people into this inclusive cycle. World gets to become restored, and world continues to tick in the same manner which it was there in the Satya Yuga before.
Thank you, Father. And would you also mind sharing with us your Malaysia Yagya story?
Yeah. So the real, So one day I called Brother Jega. He was in the he's holding a very senior position in MIDA, in Malaysian Industrial Development Authority. So I called him. His secretary told me that he was in a meeting. So I said, no, this is a very important call. Please call him. So he knocked on the door, and he was chairing a meeting. So he stepped out and came for the call. Yes, Suresh, what is it? What is it? He asked. I just want to tell you, and I know it's not the right time to tell you, but I want to tell you, for weeks now, the sun is so hot, there's no rain, everybody is suffering, Suresh, I'm chairing a meeting. He told me, I know, but I want to tell you that everybody in Malaysia is suffering. There's no sun, there's no rain. What is going to happen if we don't have rain? So what is your suggestion? My suggestion is, I saw this movie called Shankara Bharanam. In that movie, they went right on top of the hill and they took harmonium and all that, and they sang Shankara, like that. The echo went there, and then the rain started coming. I saw that scene, you see. So, okay, so he said, okay, you go and sing. If you want to take the harmonium and go and sing. I said, you also come along. See, why should I come along? Well, if the rain doesn't come, I can blame you. So then finally he said, let me meditate. So he meditated and came back. He said, they are saying to me that don't do this singing. Let's do yajna. So he called a few people and they had the yajna session, and he called Straight Times, Malay Mail, and all the dailies. They all came with camera, and the yajna is going to start half an hour before. They took snapshots, and he told them what is going to happen. Rain will fall, he said. Rain will fall here? No, rain will fall all along the west coast. Really, with this particular yajna? He said, yeah. So reporters took down, they took the photograph, and they went back to report in the newspaper. Yajna started. Within 45 minutes of that yajna starting, there was a howling wind, one of the most terrifying winds ever possible. And then the rain started falling, and the rain fell like crazy. Next day, newspaper, there was a headlines, there was a photograph of the yajna, and just beside that, they showed that water along all the western parts of the dams all raised up, all went up. So it was really a remarkable evidence of that. Of course, at that time, this funny story part of it, Brother Jaga asked me, where were you? The yajna was going on, where were you? I went to the east coast of Malaysia, and I was doing a motivational camp there, and I was flying back. It's amazing, at that time when I was flying back, the aeroplane could not land. It was going around 45 minutes, 50 minutes, 1 hour. It was going around because the rain was so much in Kuala Lumpur, it could not land. So I was right at the top of the thing, and I was praying also. And then finally, when it landed, so Brother Jaga asked me, where were you? I said, brother, you were praying from bottom, I was praying on the top. So basically, from a top-down approach, God had no other choice. He had to give the rain. So this was how the rain came through yajna. So this is not a theoretical thing. We had a practical demonstration. Somewhere 5 years later, again we had a dry spell, and the priest called us. And again we had a yajna in another part of the town, and the rain also fell during the yajna was going on. So it's something that is really true. People who are good-hearted and people who pray for rain, weather will come. Rain will come, and the weather will be right.
So how many people gathered?
Okay, so it was done in couples, brother, sister, husband, wife. There were about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 people, 14, because it was 14 people stood on both sides. But I tell you, the wind was so strong, it blew away everything. It was not a normal wind. It was a horrifying gale, you cannot believe it. No. Cars got swept. Like that. Was how the rain came, through that yajna. It was really one of the most powerful experiences that we experienced like that. So this is how this particular statement is very true. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yeah.
And this was the visualization. So this was the previous verse, verse 13. We decided to do the 14th verse. And this verse, does anybody in the audience want to read it? Anyone? Chitra?
I can jump in. Yeah, sure. So the spiritually minded who eat food that is first offered in sacrifice are released from all kinds of sin. Others who cook food for their own enjoyment verily eat only sin.
Yeah, thank you. And would you just want to interpret it in your own way, whatever you understand out of it?
Sure. The main point I'm taking away here is how important it is to offer food to God, because anything that is in the food that would create any negativity in the body would be removed. And then it's also pointing out that others who cook food specifically for enjoyment only, and my assumption is they're also not offering it as a sacrifice to God, then they are only consuming sin.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So I think by food here, it doesn't necessarily only mean the food that we eat, but all the food that we're taking with our five senses and all. And also that, when we are so focused on the I and mind, right? We forget to offer anything to God because we are so focused on ourselves. And I'm reminded of the time during COVID when, people were hoarding food and toilet paper so much so that the shelves were, they were empty. And so this thing came to my mind, when this fear haunts us, like when we are trapped in our I and mind, like brother has many times mentioned that when we are in our chains, whether it is iron chain or golden chain or silver chain, we are still chained. So I think when we are in this I and mind bondage, we cannot move, beyond that. And so the sacrifice is just out of the radar. And so there is some kind of, that vicious cycle there. We cannot go beyond that. And I think the roots of fear just go deeper and deeper. And so, brother, what our understanding, is it okay, or is there more to
No,
this
no.
sin thing?
Yeah, no, definitely everything is okay because it's all perspectives. But you see, the thing is just, firstly, we must understand the word sin. Sin in normal language will say, no, you sinned, you sinned. It's not like, in Vedanta, it is very simply understood as any form of agitation that you have in your mind that prevents you from experiencing peace and tranquility is a sin. So any agitation, remember, any agitation of restlessness that your conscience starts pricking and you move away from your reality of yourself and you're worried and you're anxious and all that is a sin. The fact that as long as the mind is available as for higher contemplation, that is not a sin. So this is how Vedanta interprets that. So when you say, see, spiritually minded people who eat food, that is first offered inside are raised from all kinds of sin. Meaning, when we take the food means through all the five senses, we are living, basically we're eating. Why are you eating? No, I'm eating for the welfare. Loga Kalyan, that means I'm always here for other people. I'm here for the happiness of other people. I'm here for the benefit of other people. When you are spiritually minded people and you're living like this for the sake of others, for the sake of joy, for the sake of happiness of other people, then basically you're free from everything else because your I and my is not there. You're basically you're looking at everything in this world. Your eyes is eating, sights are the food for the eyes, sounds are the food for the ears. So all these things, literally, you are in another plane of consciousness. When you are in another plane of consciousness, very rarely we will accumulate the sins. We will be living for other people, Loka Kalyan. So basically, at the end of the day, well, like what Swami said, more important than guru is guri. We must have a higher goal for ourselves. Live for a higher purpose, higher goal. Come for that particular, like Swami. We must actually become like Swami. Live for other people's happiness. Live for other people's joy. How do you make the organization grow? How do you make things happen? Like that we must have. Once we start having that, then literally you're in another plane. Then in that plane, your every thought that comes inside is very refined. Process of thinking is very good. Every time you think of everything else for that matter. However, if we just live for our own self, and then we live for the I and my, continuously live for that particular purpose of self-aggrandizement, fattening the bank balance, increasing, only think of you and yourself and your family and like that, then we are just, the I and the my keeps on growing. When I and my grows, the fence becomes a fence, then it becomes a wall, then it becomes a brick wall, then it becomes like the wall that separates Mexico and USA. Like that, the wall becomes thicker and thicker and thicker. What's going to happen? The sin is going to accumulate. Why? Because you're not able to experience the higher self or the higher reality of your own self. So the whole purpose is, as what the Vahinis of Swami is saying, is for our own realization, self-realization. So the realization can come only when the fence become a thin veil, like you see in the altar of the gods in the temple, a thin veil where when they show the camphor, when the veil is removed, you can see by the effulgence of that light, you can see the divine form of the Lord. So that much thinness you must bring the mind towards that. Then only we can safely say that the river has merged with the ocean.
So anything that prevents us from getting there is,
yeah.
let's say, sin.
Anything that agitates us, anything that makes us angry, anything that makes us upset, whatever reason, you are angry. Not forget whether you have a right. Whenever you're angry, you are disturbed. When you're disturbed, it's not right. So that is why that's why Gita and the spiritual life is for self-mastery. That does not necessarily mean that you should never get agitated. You get agitated, no problem. But how quick are you to come back to your original self? That's the thing. So agitated, last time I took 3 days to come back. Now I'm taking 3 minutes. So that shows your progression of coming back to your original self. So the whole idea is to remain in that plane, in that inclusive circle. Yeah, remain in that inclusive circle where verse 14 tells you to remain there. In that cycle, always sacrifice, always surrender. Once you have that attitude, then you are living in a yajna spirit.
Right. Okay, thank you. So, and this is the 15th verse of chapter 3. Kiran, would you like to read that? And
Yeah,
maybe also give your understanding, share with us your understanding.
yeah, that sounds good. Let's do it. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 15. The duties for human beings are described in the Vedas, and the Vedas are manifested by God Himself. Therefore, the all-prevailing Lord is eternally present in acts of sacrifice. Um, like I think what this is saying is like when I crush my ego or like separate self, like then we would take steps towards God, right? Like if we dissolve our ego, then as a sacrifice, then I'm naturally moving towards God. So if Shivani would like reflect on this, then I think Shivani might be leaving like I don't know. So I think we have Shivani and Anusha, right? Like to have a
So you're saying that Shivani is more likely to help Anusha, even though earlier she was denying it.
I think so. I think so. I think she would be landing towards helping Anusha. So,
We'll
but let's
see.
see. Let's see.
All right.
Oh, I never realized that I'm dependent on so many people in my life. My pet, the man I met at the airport, my mentor, even the nature. Nature has given me so much. Science Center has given me a lot. If I'm not able to host, I can at least join Sweetathon and help them. Let me talk to Anusha about it. Hey Anusha, Sairam.
Hey, Sairam, how are you? Wasn't that a fun day?
Yeah, it was so fun to join Sweetathon competition. Oh my God.
I agree. I personally just enjoyed being with a like-minded company, so many people coming together for a bigger purpose, something which is beyond ourselves, that we are, doing something for others. I think that was the best part. The entire energy in that room, that kitchen was splendid. So that's the part I truly enjoyed. What about
Yeah,
you?
even the women and kids where we donated, they were so happy to receive those yummy treats. It was so glad to see them happy. Like they're even like with I saw in their eyes and they were just glowing with happiness.
I know. And look at the turnout we had. We had our littlest, even the youngest kid, I think he was about 4, who wanted to like
Hmm.
roll up those energy bites. And then we had
Yeah.
somebody as old as 60, 65. Even she wanted to come and, participate. I was blown away by the turnout that we had. We had so many people come together and
Even
do.
the products we use, they were like allergen free. We did not use any gas, no electricity, no processed sugar. Oh my God. We just used our own energy and our love into those. My God, it was such a big, big fun.
I agree. I agree. But I do have to acknowledge you, Shivani. I know you had so many things going on that day, but I truly appreciate you taking the time to come. Even though you were not able to host, you still made time to come join us, and you brought such good vibes to it. That's what I want to thank
Oh,
you
I
for.
should
So I
have said
appreciate it.
yes when you asked me. I really feel sorry for that. It helped me a lot to
I
change
love
my understanding that we have to give back to nature and to the world. Thank you,
Awesome.
Anusha.
No problem. Let's keep doing whatever little we can. Let's continue
Mm,
doing. Okay. Bye. Talk
yes.
to you later.
Bye, Sarah.
Yes.
Uh, thank you, Anusha. Thank you, Shivani. As Baba says, the journey is from I to we to he. So I think you're doing a great job. And brother, do you want to add anything before we go to
Yeah.
our breakout?
Yeah, no, don't go to the breakout. You see, this is nice. You see, the fact is, Shivani was very, very busy. She had a lot of things to do, and that is the reason why she's not able to give. So basically, she's doing what she's doing, but out of that out of that circle, the inclusive circle, remember, she's out. So she's doing the work, but all in terms of that. Now, what Anusha did was, Anusha tried to tell her to come into the circle. It doesn't matter what activities, but the whole mechanism is, please, do you have time to come into the inner circle? She tells you, no, I don't have time because I got this, I got that, and all that. Now, this is the secret of life. Whenever you cannot do and you really cannot do it, but you take effort to come into the inner circle, that is where you get the grace. It is not when you're completely free and totally in that mode, and then when you go and do, it's nothing great. No, that means you're free, you're doing it. When you're really, really busy, you really cannot afford. You have got studies to do, you got this to accomplish, you got that to accomplish, and yet you're struggling to get into that inner circle. That is called sacrifice. That is the word sacrifice. Sacrificing your obligations and your commitments and your prioritizing and coming and giving time. It is called effort. It is that effort that brings grace, because Baba said effort is proportional to grace. Now, how you know that place has got grace? Because Baba said self-confidence is the first step to self-satisfaction. Self-satisfaction is the first step to self-sacrifice. Now comes the breakthrough. Self-sacrifice is the first step to self-realization. So whatever you want to realize. Those people who are all the time coming for bhajan, singing, and then you ask them to come for a little bit of seva. No, I'm the singing type. Okay, no problem. But if you ask the singing type and you continue to sing, but if you're not spending a little bit of time to exert effort, you're not into the inner circle, you're not into the inclusive circle as well. See, my point here is that whenever you are uncomfortable to give, because that's the area in which you will get the grace. That's why Swami said, love my uncertainty, this is the formula. What people always do is that they fulfill this, we fulfill all the things okay, then you come, then you find that that's okay. But when you really cannot give time, when you cannot achieve this, that's the time when you should give. You'll find that it comes back to you. How does it come back to you? Because grace is proportional effort. What does grace do? Okay, this is where, my dear friends, those who are studying, those who are doing this one, what you need grace. But what is grace? Grace is God's grace. What is God? Swami said, God is time. So you remember, when you don't have time, when he gives you back the time, you start studying and focusing on areas that matters. So suddenly when you go into the exam hall, that which you studied comes out in the examination hall. And then you will come out from the exam hall and say, oh, I was so lucky. It's not lucky, it's about grace. That means to say ability to focus on the right spot and the right areas and achieve in my life. That's the exact, I'm telling it to you directly from my own experience. This is what has happened in my own personal life. This is how God helps you to move forward in your life. So youth, young adults, wherever you are, listen to this particular statement, very important. That's why we are doing 13, 14, 15. Why we started with 14? 14 tells you the inclusive principle. So how do you get out of the principle is the 13. That's the way you accumulate this. Supposing you get back into the 14 and get into the inclusive, where happen? 15. What is 15? God. That's God realization. So 13, 14, 15 is one of the most powerful three. If you can forget the Gita, take these three. That's it. Redemption. Life is redemption. Yeah.
Oh, that is nice.
Makes sense. Huh?
Yes. So we have our breakout session now, and these are the questions that we're going to be discussing. So do we really believe that we are a small yet important part of the many ecosystems, and that we play a big role in making people feel included? What are the challenges to being inclusive? Because it's, even though we would want to be inclusive all the time, it's not possible. So what are the challenges? And then what extra steps can we take intentionally to be more inclusive? And I just request the facilitators to, ask the participants, maybe they could choose one or two and then discuss. Otherwise, it's going to take forever if we start discussing everywhere. So yes, Anusha, let's go to the breakout rooms, and maybe after. Yes,
Advaita, just to remind them, when you say inclusive, it just means to go back to 14 in the cycle. Become. How do you become part and parcel? How do you sacrifice more? How do you surrender more? That's what inclusiveness means. Because sometimes they may not understand what it means.
Yeah. Yes. Where can we sacrifice? But brother, I think many people don't want to hear the word sacrifice. Is there another word for sacrifice?
Give a little bit more. That's all. Give a little bit
Just
more
to give a little more. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Okay. All right, Anusha. Thank you.
Sairam, uncle.
So, Sairam, everybody.
Sairam, uncle.
Sairam,
Hello.
how did the discussion go?
Oh, it was amazing, uncle. I feel all
Awesome.
of us are like think alike, I feel, from our breakout room.
Okay.
We are all made up of same blood. That is what I felt from the session. We think in a
Oh, nice.
same way.
So nice. 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 What blood group was that?
Psi positive.
5%. Okay. All right. Brother, you see, the main objective of that session was that the more and more you feel part and parcel of the inclusive cycle, the more and more you will feel that it becomes part and parcel of life. There's no necessity to get people to motivate you. It just becomes an intrinsic life cycle.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
in my room, everybody were like most of them were young, so they had like very different perspective. It was amazing.
Yeah, I would like, I really like to listen to that. That is very important. The young perspective.
All the rooms
Okay.
are closed. Everybody should be coming back in a couple of minutes.
Oh, so nice.
I was sharing screen, so I didn't have time to type, but we have Brother Madhav sharing the
Okay.
summary and stuff. Okay.
Sairam, Brother Suresh.
Hey, Ritesh, is it?
No, this is Madhav.
Madhav. Okay.
Your voice sounds very young, Uncle.
My
That's
voice.
what said
Huh?
Ritesh.
Oh, I'll take it that from coming from Brother Suresh, a compliment.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay. So, is Advaita back? She must.
I think everybody should come back.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they
Raise-
were room number 1. So
Oh. So let's go by room and see what happened. And then raise questions within the room for anything, then we can, address some issues.
Sarah Advaita, your room 1, right? Is there a person from your room?
I'll be sharing. So this is my thing. You can see it, right? Okay. So I think what people said was that, at work, when people feel criticized, they are disappointed, and then they're like, am I making any difference? So what's the point? That kind of thing. If I'm not making a difference, then why do I even need to go approach them? And then there's inherent bias towards certain groups, and some people felt like, we just have limited time and energy. We cannot be everywhere and do everything and be everywhere. So that is one challenge. And then there is health aspect. I don't have the money to do everything. I mean, I guess they feel the pull from all the directions and not being able to be there. So what am I to focus on, right?
Right.
And also brother, like some people felt like we have to be in control. I think that control aspect was also because they're in these leadership positions. So they're like, I'm going to do this job, but this person is, I know they're trustworthy, but this person is not trustworthy. So, and I know that they're going to go to my boss and, say something. So that fear is always there, it seems. And so at that workplace, that is a challenge to being more inclusive, it seems.
Okay. So let's ask the first question. Let's go, because all the 4 areas that you highlighted is very critical, and I'm sure it'll be overlapping to other groups as well. So ask the first one. The first one is criticism. So when you are receiving criticism, you can categorize criticism on two compartments. Number one, are they criticizing you on competency? That means you're not good enough, which is very good. I myself have been criticized many, many times, but it's on competency. When you're being criticized on competency, you should thank God that there is somebody higher up willing to criticize you and take you to higher levels. Okay, so that is first comment. Now, second point, if they're criticizing you on consciousness, which means some attitude issue, some problem, that is also very good. Somebody is now correcting you on your attitude. If someone is now obnoxiously correcting you, then you are in a position to make sure that his consciousness become corrected. Criticism is a very powerful platform for transformation to take place either way. Okay, so this is a very important concept to understand. So always look for this kind of criticism, because it is the critical. You saw me also when at some point. That's why when you have not received, when you are a certain thing, why when he scolds you, my God, you will feel like the earth should go between and you should go inside, like that kind of thing. So we should become careful that not to avoid criticism, but analyze the criticism very properly, very segmentically, and very intensively, so that it aims to create better versions of oneself. That is how criticism should be looked at. Second point, if you are not having enough energy to prioritize, then focus on the energy. Are you exercising every day? Are you eating appropriately? Are you doing this? So it is important for us to understand and segregate energy according to priority. And how will you know priority? Priority comes from what you love most. If you love a girl like crazy, you will prioritize everything and settle everything to meet her at that point, isn't it? Because you love. So don't do what you like what you do. That is what the formula for that whole thing. Once you like what you do, passion will start coming inside, and you will know how to prioritize to make sure that you will give the energy to the right place at the right time. Of course, you have your resources limited. Of course, you have your energy limited. You can't be everywhere. That is true. But you need to be there at the right place at the right time. For what purpose? That is why I told you inclusive principle. If you're out of the inclusivity circle, obligations and commitments will always try to keep you busy there. But to tear away from that and to enter inside the inclusive principle and continue to sacrifice takes effort. It is that effort that brings grace. So you must see, if I stay out of the circle, I'm not getting it. If I go into the circle, what is most important to you? God's grace. So go for God's grace. When I get into the circle, I know my obligations and commitments all can be also settled in many ways. This is called, in the Krishna's principle, when you come to chapter 14, you'll see Yoga Shema principle. It means if you dedicate your action and time onto me, your entire Yoga Shema for this life and the next, I will take care. This is my form. This has been my really the most motivation. If I serve you, I know obligations and commitments, I will take it. So this is how you save time and energy and prioritize yourself to achieve the highest for yourself and highest for the world at large. It's a belief system that you must have inside. If you don't have that belief system, you will not get dragged into the inclusive circle. Okay.
So the fear also is same thing, isn't it? When I guess the fear lessens when you are more like God oriented. That's what you're saying, right? Because there is this fear of control, fear of somebody going to the boss talking about me.
Nothing to worry. Even if they go to the boss and fear, if your person can influence your boss, then the boss don't know you. That's all, simple as that. That's why Swami said, come experiment me, experience me, then appreciate me. So then accept me. So if your boss is going to listen to one person and then your entire perception is wrong, means your work has not been recognized by the boss. The boss doesn't know who you are. The boss does not know your transparency, openness, and all that. So even if somebody goes and instigates certain things, you say, no, don't worry. I know him. He will be okay. Just as Vibhishana crossed Ravana, Ravana left and came to Sri Rama, everybody told Rama, don't listen, Vibhishana, his brother, is coming to our side. He might have other plans. Rama said, no, don't worry. Leave it to me. I know what to do. Because Vibhishana became one of the greatest persons. He never listened to anybody else because he understood. Why? Understanding people is the most important thing in any organization. How you make yourself understand the people with openness and transparency based on your Atmic principle, nothing can penetrate you. That is the invincibility of our office worker.
Thank you. Right. Maybe the next room can go.
Yeah, that's me. It's room 2. So I didn't make any notes here, but
young people. Yeah.
So most of us were, I think, wires. So one of us like said she recently became a young adult coordinator, like which is kudos to Anushka. She said like it really struck a chord. Like she says she puts in extra efforts to talk to colleagues who's not related, not just limited to her colleagues, but like also to other people who's like silent, calm, and all. She puts in that extra efforts to make sure like they are inclusive, like especially going to go grab some food, talking to them, right? So that was amazing. And the second person, like he said, he wants to be inclusive in the Sai Center, so that like he wants to put more efforts to go to Sai Center because he's really busy with work. So he's trying to like have that thought process like of going to Sai Center, and like he's trying to do what he can. So that is amazing. And third person is uh, he said I think it's Dinika. Like she said like she wants to be aware of people's feelings and like not hurt them, and also uh, whoever are very silent in the Sai Center or like any other place, like she wants to go and talk. And then so Ritesh was he was like he's one of my inspirations. So he said he does a lot, like, and also like he said about Sai Blossoms, and what it talked about the capacity for the sacrifice, right? Like what energy, what efforts, and like what time he puts in, especially the YA activities and like the like Sai Blossoms too, right? Like it takes a lot of energy from him and time, but he does like that extra effort as a sacrifice to the community. And what I shared is like I whenever if somebody is like too old or like too young, I just make sure like they're comfortable and they're being inclusive in a community. So from our room, what I felt is like all of us are doing sacrifice in certain way, and but like the final goal is like making others happy. So that was the common ground. But the in like the challenges was like time, work, and energy.
Yeah. So you should ask Ritesh, when he's taking extra effort and making Sai Blossoms and everything happen, what happened to him? That is what you should be asking, Kiran. You should ask Sai
I
Ritesh.
can answer that, Uncle. I just want to
What's
clarify, Uncle. Like I was telling the group, maybe I misspoke. I was telling them in terms of next steps, the most important next step I can take is to build my capacity to sacrifice more. That
Yes.
is the thing that I can do. And that's the most important thing actually. It's not that I was sacrificing, it's about what steps am I taking so that I can be ready to sacrifice as needed to be inclusive. That's
Okay.
what I was focused on.
I know, Ritesh, but why do you want to do that? What is the need for you to sacrifice more? What is happening to you?
So the joy, Uncle, like the bliss of, as you said, right? Like you're able
Ah,
to do all these things, and it's just like
that's it.
you're constantly
That's
in communion with God. God,
that's it.
God comes to you when you sacrifice. You don't have to go to God.
Yeah. So now, this is what is important, Kiran. See, this is what I wanted the answer. See, when you are just doing your office work, 5 to 9 to 5 job, house, office, office, off, then you are just like a shuttlecock. You're just shuttling between two places. So this shuttlecock brain, what will happen is, will only be limited. Your neural connectivity will only be limited. How dopamine is released is that when new neural connections in the brain is created, you find that your lots of neurotransmitters are created, and you find you jump synapses. So when your brain is developing neuro extensions, and where the new nerves are the impulses are jumping from one synapse to synapse, your brain is developing. When you're developing your brain, you find that developed brain of yours, when you apply it in your office work and come back, you know what's going to happen? You get new insights. Hey, I didn't see this happening yesterday, because you yesterday was only with a limited brain. Now with your sacrifice and you extended your brain, your neural connectivity is now becoming more. When your neural connectivity is more, your intelligence grows. That is why those who sacrifice, those who give time, those you'll find them rising in their career. This is what I'm telling the youth, young adults. Don't ever think this is Swami's creation of this entire program is to make us become more efficient in our own office work. And then not only that, you will get your dopamine release, you'll get, and that's why don't forget, you think Ritesh is doing self-sacrifice. No, Ritesh is doing it because he's getting more happiness, more joy. So this is a kind of addiction. That's why we are doing this Gita session also, because there's an addiction. You enjoy. When you enjoy life like this, my God, it's a thrill of life. Whereas others have to take drugs and go on LSD and cigarette smoking and alcohol drinking or to become high, we are getting high from an internal source of surge of dopamine. This is what Swami is talking about, Ananda, 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 like that, is he? Anyway, that's
Yeah.
what.
Like I was able to relate it to it because it's like going to the gym and building that muscle, right? Like muscle
Muscles.
memory. Like
No,
I
that's
understand.
yeah. So he is doing it.
Perfect.
See, Ritesh is little by little, he's doing the muscles is increasing. Muscle is increasing. That's why he's now, you see, his question is, he's finding more time to sacrifice. Can you see? The language is, he's finding more time to sacrifice. Why should you do that? Because you're getting more joy. Why is more joy coming? Because I see, in the Swami is trying to get us to that level. We do a little bit here, little bit there. Oh, I done this, I've done. Actually, it's not that. It becomes an integral lifestyle where you get your body is soaked with endorphins. You're so happy. Then you just laugh. And then when you laugh and your wife asks you, why are you smiling? I know reason. When you are smiling without a reason, when you are happy without a reason, that's called bliss. So when you're happy without a reason to be happy, that is called bliss. And that bliss can only be happening when union with God. That's what Baba said. Very nice. Thanks. Room 2. Room 3. Who is this? Anusha, I think.
Brother Madhav, you're muted.
Brother
Okay,
Madhav,
how
you are
about
muted.
now?
Yeah, now okay.
Okay. So I was saying that I was reminded about a recent quote I heard. It's always good to work with people who make you feel insecure about yourself. That way, you will constantly keep pushing your limits, right? So I think this is Sundar Pichai was telling in the AI summit in New Delhi, one of the things. So I think we talked about being small group is okay. I mean, but it's not about the quantity of people, but about the quality of people that we deliver is what matters a lot. And to deliver that quality as an aspect, it requires a lot of stretching. It requires a lot of discipline within to be able to offer that with love and an approach with compassion. So we talked about many people gave an example. A lady couldn't find in the senior living home, the cafe was closed, and how she offered some khichdi or pulao for her to a 91-year-old. How she felt good about it when all doors were closed for that night for her. And it's about thinking about others, thinking about sacrificing what you have, and trying to help people in a situation. I think even at the center level or an office level, so I think a setup requires a lot of effort, or dismantling requires a lot of effort when, especially the bigger events we do. But how many will really come ahead of time to be able to offer that help, right? So that's where we were talking and pondering about at various levels in the home or at work at Sai Center, how we should stretch ourselves to be able to be ready to offer ourselves.
Okay, so is there any question?
There is no particular question, but it was just a reflection about what it was.
Yeah. So the idea is I think the idea is in the center, we keep on triggering this consciousness, you see, in other people. Earlier they'll come, then slowly as they keep on vibrating with the same people, suddenly we get inspired by other people's sacrifice. We ourselves, we look at them, they're giving so much time. I feel so guilty. I should also want to be part of. See, that's how we get osmosized into as looking at other people. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Room 4, is there a room 4? Yeah.
Yes, we talked about teamwork. Our group also talked about, like, instead of sending emails that why you are not coming to center or so, you should just call and give a personal touch to other
Yeah.
persons, and to feel that we really want them and they are included in our family community. And we also talked about dividing the work. For example, if you are doing any project or anything else, so even if those who are shy and don't want to do uh, due to some reasons, you should give at least little work to them so that they can do, and it will help for that particular work we are doing to be successful. And we also talked about to be aware and show concern to the others, and be ready to be uncomfortable, come out of your comfort zone, as uncle you always say, and help whoever wants help, and try new things and explore something new. Sairam.
Sairam. Thank you, sister. Any concerns that you had, especially when you said telephone, that's the best. See, I think the most important thing in this day and age, everyone wants to belong somewhere. That's the main thing. Everybody wants to, if I can go somewhere and people really look at me, people want to be appreciated and acknowledged. So if that acknowledgement and appreciation comes from the Sai family, then I will belong, the sense of belonging will be there, ownership will be there. So this is how that is how the center becomes an embodiment of Sai Swami, where the devotees themselves are extending that thing and you feel good, you feel warm. So that extension that we do is what we get the results, you see. So you're right. Instead of sending an email, it's best to tell, hey, I missed you. What happened 2 weeks? 2 weeks you didn't come. What happened to you? And no, I couldn't come. Why? Is there a problem? Do you have a problem in lift? Can I get something to organize for you? We miss your presence. They will definitely be part and parcel of the teams.
Right. I always think it's better for me to text, but Uncle opened my eyes today. No, we should call, and
I will,
maybe I
yeah.
will I will try
You
to
ask
do that.
You ask how many times I phone Advaita also. I whether hello, I have no problem. I just phone every. Have you done? Have you seen? Have you seen? So like that, because once we form a relation, once we establish a relationship, then there's no necessity for the formal. Are you free? Can you attend?
Mm,
Sometimes this formality is what that keeps the distance away. Just phone, because all relations, all brothers sisters,
yes.
Like
That's
Swami.
true.
If Swami is a photograph God, Vaikunta, and then all Reverend Swami, then it'll be like God. But he's your friend, means then you'll sit with him in the
Mm,
car. Bhagwan, I'm going with the car, I'm going to see this, please, Swami, I'm going for interview. Bhagwan, Swami, like that. So it's how you relate to the people is how they will reflect by. That's what reflection, reaction, resound, isn't it? Swami said that. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Next room.
Yeah, said our room discussed the challenges are like lack of faith, lack of self-confidence, lack of expansion of love, and already the prior responsibilities and duties, which are kind of hindering them to accept new things. I mean, so they don't have like lack of understanding in distinguishing between my responsibilities or the other responsibilities, and practice and not practicing selflessness, and lack of understanding of mine and thine. Here we were thinking like, okay, they will call for a small immediate family or little extended family, but not for someone who is not known, because they don't think they are part of the ecosystem. Or it's like expansion love, when we understand we are all connected, and all that expansivity and that inclusivity grows on, right, uncle? So that's what we all discussed. And now the extra steps, like in a family, a new member comes into a family or something, like it's showing more love, respecting, non-judgmental, or any other thing with the serving family comes first, and then welcoming everyone's thoughts and taking decisions, discussing with everyone, and showing empathy. And at work, also showing empathy, volunteering and sharing workload. At Science Center, also, some of our centers also we do like everyone, most of them resonated with, they do personal calls, so we were happy to know that. And one extra step was like adoption of communities. Most of our centers do nursing home or soup kitchens and all, but adoption of communities can be really seen, or how we can do one more extra step, or expanding our service things or intensifying our services, what we are doing. And outreach, I think it's comes even with the community. And towards nature, it's like go green, reducing plastic. I mean, we do at a regional level, but at individual home or at center level, we do. But the same me, I go and visit any individual house or some small parties, we see some other things, like why not? So living by example, trying them to educate and say like, okay, we can still continue even here and contribute to the mother nature and all.
Yeah. So only thing, Manohari, is this. You see, when somebody says lack of faith, okay. So let's say I can do it, but I lack faith. So I must now question myself. Why is it that I lack the faith? Why is it I cannot trust God to do it? Why is it that I have a lack of self? I must ask myself that question, and I must search for that answer through the satsangs. Then I must look. My reason why I come to the Sai Center is I look at other people and then see how they're having the confidence, how you develop that. It's like when I did very badly for my science subjects, so I look at I study with my friends, and I find how you when I look at the question, how did you understand that question the way you understood it? Why is it that I'm not understanding the question the way why? So when I compare and tune up my system, I see how they see. You see? So this is why satsang is critical and very important, because my job is to discover more faith. My job is to have more self-confidence. My job is to make sure my love expands. So I have this self-inquiry to increase my limitations. Once I know I'm limited, I cannot say I have less confidence, but I'm like that. I'm born like that. I don't have much. So if you keep on born like that, but one should not die like that. The reason why humanity came to you and why Swami came to you and why all the satsang is to enhance that. So every individual has a weakness, and the real reason why we have people is to study them and to see how you do it. How did you do that? Why did you think like that? So every time it's a marvel to see people who actually have a challenge and how they overcome the challenge. That's why I read biographies. One of the best things to do in life is to read biography. I've read the biographies of all the great actors, Amitabh Bachchan, Rajinikanth. I read all this. I read 2-3 times. I see where the problems are and I see how they're responding to that problem. And for me, it's very inspiring. Scientists, Einstein, Edison, all these people, how every challenge they come, how do they respond to that? Because people's response to that helps you to mold your own thinking and own capacity. Every one of us think that we got problems. Actually, you talk to people, my God, the kind of problems that others have is just phenomenal, And then you say, how did you manage to survive that? How you thought that? I'm not so much interested in the problem. I'm so much interested in how you thought like that. What is your thinking that made you different? Like the day in the AGM annual general meeting, I was there in our center. So there was one devotee who just casually said that, this brother drives 6 hours. 6 hours he drives for this meeting, and 6 hours he goes back. And for every committee meeting, he drives 6 hours and come. And nobody makes it. I went up there, and when I was talking to him, I said, the greatest miracle is not the Vibhuti manifestation, Ani coming out and all that. I think the greatest miracle is how is it, what makes you think to come drive 6 hours through the traffic jam just to attend a meeting? How do you do this? What is it that in you sparks that kind? That is what real growth is all about, because he's revealing a formula, but we are not able to understand that formula. So in a group study like this, we need to study people, understand people, appreciate people, and then imbibe those qualities so that we also create better versions of ourselves. So all the main objective of this exercise is we must all get into the inclusive cycle. We must go into this, verse 14. We must get into this verse 14. I must sacrifice, I must surrender, I must get. What is stopping me from doing that? That is what I need to stop. So if I stop that, I can't get into this cycle. I'll be inside this cycle. So in this cycle, my I and my will keep on growing. But in that cycle, I and my keeps on coming down. So I'd rather be in that cycle, because that cycle is what gives me grace. So what do I want in my life? Grace. So why not I get into the inclusive cycle? Simple. See, simple is a very simple understanding only. But we don't need to complicate matters. We just need to get into the inner circle. By getting into the inner circle, can my outer circle problems solve? Hey, apparently getting lesser and lesser. Funny, yeah, when you get into the inclusive cycle, somehow the universal consciousness start to sort out your outer circle problems. Amazing. Okay.
Yes. So I think you already shared what the homework is, get into the inclusive circle.
Yeah.
And so, yes, let's continue doing that. Thank you, brother. We'll keep bugging each other with our phone calls. And we have mid-month satsang in 2 weeks, so we'll send out an invitation for that as well. And our next episode will be on Sunday, April the 5th. Thank you to all the participants, to all the facilitators. Brother, thank you. And thank you, Baba, for your grace. We'll see you next time, and we'll stop with Om and Sri Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram and good night.
Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai
Sai Ram, brother.
Sai Ram. Sai Ram, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.